everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Technically Trek. I am your humble host, Dave Prime, and over there tonight is my good friend
Oh,
Philip Chandler, who we've known
okay.
for over 20 years. Oh, we're old.
Long time. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so back during live journal days, if people even still use it, I've tried to hack into that, but I can't remember what password I used. So,
Oh, geez. I thought it was gone. I thought it was completely gone, but is it still
oh,
existing?
it still exists. My journal
Oh,
still exists on
oh
there, so
gosh, I
it's
must have
still a
got that.
thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, here we talk technically about all things Star Trek, and saying we just got a few more weeks, and we're gonna start delving into new episodes of Star Trek Lower Decks, the Boohoo final season. Hopefully, with the campaign that's going on online, that they'll either A, get another season, or B, get a series of movies, which I think will be great. Because unlike other
Fun.
Star Trek series where each season is a year in the future from the previous season, only like a year and a half has passed with Lower Decks if you pay attention to the star dates. So it's kind of interesting dichotomy going on there. But how are things going with you today, Phil?
Good. Good. Things are all right. Yeah. I'm.
Excellent.
I finally, as I was talking to Dave a little earlier, I said I finally actually got around to just watching the episode, but I'm finding I kind of like watching the episode again right before the live stream, or at least like a day or so before, so it's still really fresh in my mind, right? So I didn't even really take down any notes on this one, but
Yeah,
I have a lot of thoughts on it.
yeah, I definitely took a few notes, and it's been a rough month, but I got my 4 month chip
Hey,
last night.
congrats!
So thank you.
Good
It's been a
job.
long road getting from there to here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that being said, we were talking Enterprise this week,
Mhm.
and the 16th episode of the first
Mhm.
season, Shuttlepod One, where Reed and Trip, I mean, they haven't really, as we were just talking a few minutes ago, they weren't really getting along. They're still kind of getting a feel of one another, and they're button heads on more than one occasion. And say, but definitely if you like what we're talking about, you can definitely join in on the conversation. The description's down below if you're watching on YouTube, and saying the links on my Twitter slash X. It's still going to be Twitter for me no matter what. I did my little fu to the muskrat, but yeah, saying you can bit.ly/tech trek TEK TREK, and saying you can just join in the chat if you don't feel if you feel bashful and you don't want to be part of the channel and be live on camera, but you can still be a vocal participant. You don't have to be on camera. So give the clink, give the clink, give the click a give a give the link a click.
Link
There we go.
click.
Yay, live TV! But I'm going to go ahead and bring
Yeah.
Tyson into the
Hey, how you
conversation.
doing?
Hey, Tyson, how's it going today?
Good. How are you doing? Yeah, I feel kind of weird because I have no product in my hair today, so it's kind of just
Your product?
Oh,
no. I usually have
good.
have something in my hairspray or gel or something, but it's kind of just messy today. Oh well.
Yeah, yeah. My hair's a hot mess. I'm overdue for a haircut, but I actually got an email this morning from a place I got my haircut done once, maybe a year ago. And just like, hey, come back, get a free haircut. It's like, okay, I'll still bring money for a tip, but I mean, a free haircut, heck yeah, I'm down for that.
Oh, my husband and I have hair clippers, and so we cut each other's hair for free because, well, I'm not going to lie, I'm a cheap bastard. Yeah, that's.
Haircuts are expensive. I got mine done free too by a student in the city who was being trained, and I went in for that and had it done just before the winter. So yeah, haircuts are expensive. You can get them done cheap. Get it done
And
cheap.
then you feel obligated to tip, which you should. I mean,
Yeah,
people
absolutely.
work hard, and then, but even if the haircut's $15 and you tip $5, that's $20. And if I don't want to sound sexist. I was going to say, if I was a woman and I, really wanted my hair styled and done and every, there might be reasons, but with most guys, it's just, cut my hair. I don't need any special attention. Just, it needs to be shorter than it is right now. Like, what style do you want? Shorter than it is right now. That's the style.
I tell them numbers, do like 1.5 on the sides, finger length on the top. That's enough to hide the big
like a high and tight, right?
A high and not so tight. High and loose.
Well, it's interesting you bring it up because there's a Coast Guard auxiliary meeting next week, and it's we have to do the annual uniform check, which is I'm going to wear my in the Coast Guard they're called ODUs. In any other military service, they're BDUs or battle dress uniform. The Coast Guard is operational dress uniform. So it's the solid navy blue with the name tape. It's not the one that you've seen with my ribbons and my name tag. It's the operational dress. So I've got to dress up and all that, and they're going to do a uniform check. They're going to look at how the uniform fits me, my haircut, my boots, my belt, and that has to be done once a year to make sure that I'm within the uniform standards. So I'm going to have to get a haircut because this is not military approved.
Yeah, saying I actually, you say you go to the student barbers for free. We still have to pay for that up here. But it's at like $10 $12.
I lucked out. I was looking on Kijiji, which is our Canadian Craigslist, and somebody just was offering them free as part of their training. So I was like, I'll take advantage of that. So I still tipped them though. I still got a good tip.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, when I went to the barber school to get my haircut done, and I say everything's plastic, and they say, oh, we don't take tips on card. I'm like, seriously? What?
If you come across any student doctors looking to practice liposuction, let me know because I'm a candidate.
Can I just give a shout out to Katie here? She's in the chat here. So first of all, you're very welcome, Katie, and I hope you're feeling better soon. So I'm happy to pass the torch back to you when you're ready to come back. So.
Take your time, Katie.
Yeah.
And say if you need an extra week or two, I am totally fine with it. As long as you're back by the time the end of next month when we start talking about new episodes.
Oh, thank you, Katie. But yeah, Tyson needs some professional work here. I don't have that beautiful coin that you do, but I do have a little challenge coin that I got years ago when I dosed aboard the U.S. Coast. It's one of the only active duty tall ships. This is a military ship. It is the USCGC Eagle, and it is active duty military ship.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to dose on aboard her for one day, and got this beautiful coin for it. But the only tall ship in active duty military service. It's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I got a couple of challenge coins when I was pretty active with the online mobile game Ingress. And it's saying this is it actually spins.
Hold on. I can't believe that because here I also have the Space Needle. I don't know if you can see it.
God's sakes.
Yeah, I can see it.
When I went to visit my brother in Washington and we went on the Space Needle, I had to get a memento. So, wow, super cool, Dave.
I have no clue.
This one says, victory is the quality of competition and not the final score. And say so. I won't go into details on it. It's a very, very interesting game. But if you're familiar with Pokemon Go and not Ingress, Pokemon Go would not exist without Ingress because all those Pokestops and gyms are portals in the Ingress game.
Oh, all right.
I won't begin to tell you how many times my sister almost got run over by a car playing Pokemon Go. But I will tell you just a really funny story before we get into the episode. Truly happened. My niece, I have two nieces. One is 14 and the other one is 4. The 14-year-old is playing this, I don't know, is this game where she's like this warrior, back in the 1600s or anyway, she's battling and everything, and she jumps off this really high plane and falls down and hits the ground and rolls over, and I'm just I'm being a little smartass, right? I'm like, ooh, bitch fell. And my little 4-year-old niece said, Tyson, she's not a bitch, she's a mage. And I'm like, oh, I totally didn't even see her sitting there. I wouldn't have, used that word. But it's just the way she said it was hilarious. Oh my goodness. They're so fun. And it wasn't Zelda, but it was one of those like World of Warcraft. It wasn't that one, but it was, something, generic free, something they play on the Xbox. I'll have to look it up, but it was hilarious. She's not a bitch, she's a mage. Oh, to the episode. To the episode.
And don't call me Stinky. I was saying, Katie's starting to spitball other like role-playing games now.
Oh, I don't. I download. I'd have to turn on my Xbox and look at the name of the game. It's yeah, but it's one of those where they have mages and it's very much. I would
There's
think
so many
like
of them.
Zelda-ish type game.
Oh God! Now I'm starting to think of what's that? Skyrim. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, it's if I get a chance to ask her, maybe on the main show on Sunday, I'll retell this little story and I'll have the name of the game. But Shuttlepod One, I'd love. You know what? A lot of people knocked Enterprise. I thought Enterprise was wonderful, and I love the opening. It's one of my favorite opening themes of any of the Star Trek TV shows. My second favorite is probably TNG because I love that motion picture soundtrack. But it's been a long road getting from there to here, and just all the how they show back in history all the way to the future to when the show takes place. It's just beautifully done, and I love it. I think it was one of the first openings to use CGI, wholly CGI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say to me personally, when Enterprise first came out, I was optimistic on it, and the very first episode, they started rewriting established canon, and that just kind of put me off, so I didn't give Enterprise the chance that it did on its first go around. We won't even talk about their version of the finale episode, but the 2 episodes before that, that's my finale, in my opinion. I think that hits it to a T. But yes, Reed dissing the ridiculousness of science fiction, I just found kind of humorous when he and Trip were having that banter. Say, talking about what if Zephram Cochrane was European instead of being from Montana?
That actually made me chuckle. I thought that was a good little reference, though, to that bit of Star Trek history.
Yeah, that's kind of like the other thing. Yeah, Katie mentioning is that Russell Watson has a beautiful singing voice as well, but a singing anthem for Star Trek that's just like, that kind of turned me off too.
I loved it. I loved it, and honestly, if you get a chance to you can go to YouTube and you can look up the song. There's actually a 3-minute, the full version, which is also really beautiful. Love it.
Oh, saying Katie's not loving Malcolm, that's for sure. He put shame to the Brits.
Yeah, he had some phobias.
Well, you mean, yeah, not only that. I mean, he was definitely stuffy. And the thing, as the episode progressed, we finally see to a head why he is always standoffish and stuff, because anybody that he's
Mhm.
cared about has left or what they thought at the time died, because they thought that piece of it, the Enterprise shuttle pod door, was all that was left of the ship. So I mean, granted, I was just like, hope for the best, expect the worst, and they see that it's like, ship's gone. They don't have any communications. Everything's broken, and saying, so they have no way of knowing that Enterprise is just trotting along and minding their own business, just thinking everything's hokey dokey, which they're not.
And Malcolm kind of butts heads with the Makos.
Later on in the series, yeah,
Yeah.
because they're stepping on his toes. I mean, this is hit. I mean, Armory security, that was his domain, and these Makos are stepping all over him.
But the Makos were supposed to provide not security for the ship, but a fighting force against the Zindi and against, their job wasn't ship security. That was still his job. But he felt that they were stepping into his territory and trying to do some of that ship security stuff, which he was like, no, that's me. My officers are trained in security, and you want to retrain them to be warriors. They're not warriors, they're ship security, and they're really good. And if they need to be warrior, if they do get in fisticuffs, they're good. You don't.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting dichotomy there. But to Shuttlepod One, and I keep promising myself I'm going to watch these shows before we do the live, and I didn't. I got busy all week. In fact, my alarm went off about a minute before the show, and I'm like, oh crap, technically Trek, I got to jump on right now. Didn't even have time to do my hair. So here I am, and I haven't watched the episode aside from probably several years ago when I've seen the series 3 or 4 times over, and I love it. But remind me again specifically about the episode.
Well, the episode starts with Trip in Shuttlepod One, hence the name of the episode. Doing a survey of some asteroid field, and Enterprise is off doing its thing in a different part of the asteroid field, and they're supposed to rendezvous. But something happened before the episode, which knocks out their sensors, knocks out their communication, and it just makes everything hopeless. And then they're just putting around, then they see some debris, and they circle over it, and then there's like the O1 from the shuttle bay door, the shuttlepod door underneath, that got damaged when they got hit by that micro singularity. And saying, and of course, then the ship that they rescued, that was also debris. So Reed and Tucker thought that was all Enterprise debris, and they crashed. So they had to try and figure out what to do, how to get help, because it's a hopeless cause. It's going to take like 2 weeks to get to the nearest base on impulse, and they only have
Oh, is that the one where they started to freeze and they were running out of oxygen, and
yeah, and they're
they
drinking
pulled out the
brandy
alcohol bottle? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's all coming back. I remember that episode.
yeah, saying, yeah, I think it. Yeah, I mean, it was like some sort of ionic interference that did kind of knock it down.
I missed
Because
a
of what
little
was
bit
going
because I was
on.
running back and forth to the kitchen. I kind of missed a little bit what exactly it was that they saw, that they presumed that the ship had crashed.
It was just a big chunk of the Enterprise's hull from the
Okay.
shuttle bay door, and it
So,
had the
right, because of that big hole they mentioned something about. Okay, yeah.
yeah. And then when we jumped to the Enterprise, we kind of saw all that damage. It's like there's the debris that
Right.
Trip and Reed saw, but
And then they do the whole, they think they're going to die. They confess their, deepest secrets, and then they're rescued. There's been a lot of episodes.
Yeah.
Voyager, where Tom and B'Elanna are stranded in space and they have to share oxygen and they think they're going to die and then they get beamed up at the last minute. There's the episode of TOS where the shuttle, which has been attacked by the giants, remember? And then they end up burning up the rest of their fuel to try to make a flare that the Enterprise.
I kept thinking about that as soon as they were talking about launching off the engine and blowing it up. That came to my mind, and I couldn't get that out of my head as I was watching it. But
the Galileo 7.
Yeah. The Galileo,
Galileo 7. Yeah,
and I remember them. I don't remember if it was Scotty, it was probably Dr. McCoy who told Spock that was an illogical, desperate, move, and it, in any event, it reminded me of that. And then, so we've seen similar episodes where somebody's stranded, they think they're going to die, and then they get rescued at the last minute. It was just, one of those episodes.
Typical Trek.
Typical Trek.
I was just looking at, but I mean, you could definitely tell, like early on, that of course earlier episodes they're always button heads. There are already button heads in the pod, saying the typical pessimist versus optimist dynamic was very strong in this episode. And saying, but of course, I mean, in Trip's position, if I was stuck with somebody that was just recording message after message after message, say, by the time you get this, I'm going to be dead, blah, blah, blah. That would make me a little cuckoo too.
I never, I was wondering about that as well, about their relationship, because Enterprise was one that I never got completely into. Because I think it started around 2001 or 2002 in that range.
Yeah. Right after Voyager.
I remember we all sat down. It was myself and two other roommates at the time. We all sat down to watch it, and my friend Dawn, she was a big TOS girl. Actually, she loved TOS, and but they hated the first episode. They were so angry at it, and I guess since then I just left it. Wasn't going to actually watch it, and I only caught bits and pieces of episodes and a few episodes here and there, but that was one series I never really fully latched onto. Even Voyager and Deep Space Nine, I've missed some episodes, but I've seen majority of it. Right. So, but Enterprise was the only one that I never kind of got.
I think they added, though. I mean, you're right. They did upset canon a little bit, but they also smoothed out some questions, because we know in TOS the Klingons didn't have ridges. And we know in the Deep Space Nine episode, Trials and Tribulations, Worf says, we don't talk about it. But it was Star Trek Enterprise that explained it was the augments, and it was, they lost their ridges. And so for a time, Klingons didn't have ridges, and then eventually genetically, they came back. And it was during that time, aboard the space station, where you saw the Klingons without the ridges. And
and they did try to.
It did try to give some explanation to that.
Yeah, I think that was quite clever, and and Katie's with me there. But me, I've been the only survivor. And it all started with Khan. Yeah, say the augments, even though he wasn't called an augment back then until Enterprise gave them a name. So, which I think was a clever way of doing it. But like with you, Philip, saying that first episode is saying they introduced the Klingons 50 years before McCoy said first contact with the Klingons happened.
That was one of the big things that my friend John, I remember, flipped out about, was he was very much into canon and all that, and so he was.
Me too. I saw that, I was just like, what is Berman thinking? Why is he?
Yeah.
I mean, I watched sporadic episodes. I didn't watch it religiously. I think I started really watching it more on a weekly basis. Yes, Katie, he did say that in TOS. Saying there, what episode was that? Here, I'll look it up.
I'd have to actually find that.
Day of the Dove was the episode. It's saying that, yeah, saying that there was a comment that yeah, saying the first contact was the early 22, about 50 years ago, which would put it
Right.
about 2218 or so.
Right.
Saying, but then yeah, saying all of a sudden, oh, no, first contact with the Klingons was in 2151. Yeah,
I
they
don't know
have.
why, but all of a sudden I'm in the mood for spaghetti.
Yeah,
Random, random. I'm just hungry for spaghetti. Don't know why.
see, I had some ramen earlier. That's like spaghetti, but not.
But absolutely not. Yeah. Um,
They're both noodles. That's about the only similarity they got.
Can I mention interject here with something else too that occurred to me when the show started, because I thought maybe I could ask you guys about this as well. Apparently this episode aired in 2002,
Mhm.
and I couldn't, correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like they started using some digital effects in it,
Oh yeah.
and because it became kind of notice. I don't know if they were using many digital effects in Voyager or in. I know they used some obviously in Deep Space Nine.
Mhm.
Some Voyager, I think they did some, but I don't know why some of the scenes, dare I say, felt like it took a half step backwards. Some of them just looked a little digitally and a little bit, and I thought this is definitely not using models. And I,
this,
Yeah.
yeah,
you
this
know,
was the very first, the first. What am I going to
Series.
call it? Series. Thank you. That didn't have a physical model, so there was never a physical model built of the NX-01. Every
right,
series before there was a physical model of Voyager, a physical model of the Enterprise D, a physical model of the space station, a physical model. They've had these, and ILM did a lot of those original models.
right,
Um,
yeah,
this was the first one that was never a physical model. Every time you saw the Enterprise, it was digital.
it was digital. It was, and now this is early. It's 2002. It's early television CGI. So I kind of gave a little leeway for that, obviously, but it was kind of noticeable, and I thought something just it isn't looking as clean here. Is it, or either too clean or not? I don't know how to describe it, but it just looked a little overly
Artificial.
crispy on the edges, and yeah, a little overly lit, and just yeah. So I thought, they
Well,
needed to.
well, dare I say, at least it was better than the CGI from Babylon 5.
Oh well, yeah, that was like video game CGI.
I'll tell you
Even
the
joystick
best
while watching it.
effects ever was the Enterprise refit. So the first 6 Star Trek motion picture movies
Oh
with the
yeah,
Enterprise and the Enterprise A, that was designed to look like a real spaceship, and they even thought about what would a spaceship look like in space. We see the TV show and it's always brightly
Mhm.
lit. Well, in
Oh
space
really?
it's
Yeah,
dark. It's not going to be brightly lit. So if you go back and watch the motion picture, which I wasn't crazy about the warp speed effect in that very first movie. I think they improved upon it and
Mhm.
movie 2, 3, and 4. But look at that ship when it comes out and look at it when it's traveling through space. It's not very brightly lit, and that's why it has all those lights around, all those Aztec details. The NCC. You have that forward light on the front, the light underneath, the 2 lights on the sides, the lights on the nacelle lights that point down to the logos on the secondary hull. It's all externally lit up, which explains why you can see the ship in space. Where when you look at the Enterprise D, you don't see any external lights other than the little navigation lights, right? You don't see light
Yeah.
shining on its logo. It's just like the ship is always lit by sunlight, even when it's in the middle of deep space, and it makes no sense.
There
But
was
in
2
the
light
movie,
sources in some cases, but
yeah,
yeah,
it's like, where's the light source coming from this? And so I
yeah,
think that's, to your point, when you see the Enterprise NX-01, it always seems a little too bright for being out in space. And, where's all this light coming from? That's what I loved about the 1701 and the 1701A in the movies, is that it provided its own light source, and it explained why
yeah.
you could see it. It just looked beautiful. There's no more beautiful ship. The
I think I
1701.
remember going to see a special theatrical showing of I think it was Best of Both Worlds. No, was it best? The two-parter where Picard gets taken over by the Borg.
Yeah, it's best of both worlds.
Best of both worlds. Okay, it is. And I remember they had a special cinema showing for that, and it was with some upgraded effects. And I remember that the shot of the Enterprise looked so good, especially on the big screen. And I thought, oh, because it looked natural in space, like you'd see it only partially lit on one side, and all the lights of the ship were kind of very glaring on the other side of the ship, and it just looked so sharp. And I thought that was such a good effect the way they did that. And but
So, I'll have to see. I actually got the Blu-ray on my bookshelf behind me from
oh,
that
all right, yeah.
theatrical release. Yeah, the only thing I don't like about that, it kind of took away some of the punch, because like when it originally aired, it ended with Mr. Worf fire, then you got Ron Jones bump bump bump.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
when they put it together as one episode, it's like Mr. Worf fire, doo doo, yeah, then it fires
Right.
the
When the
deflector.
cinema, when I saw it at the cinema, they actually had a like a little 10-minute intermission actually. So
Really?
yeah, it ended.
Huh.
We could use the bathroom. We came back and then watched part 2. Yeah.
Well, say here in the States, I don't know if you went, Tyson, but I sure as heck did, and
Oh.
yeah, it was like the full 90 minutes. There's like
Oh.
no intermission.
Oh.
When was this?
It was when they not long after they released season 3 of Next Generation on Blu-ray, so it would have been about 2012, 2013, I want to say.
Wow, has it been that long?
Mm.
Wow.
I've never seen an episodic Star Trek show on a big screen.
Well,
Never.
I've not only seen that one, but I forget that when the first season first came out on Blu-ray, they did 2 episodes. They did Where No One Has Gone Before, and another one that I just can't remember off the top of my head, but with all those visuals when they went to super warp, I guess you can call it, and saying that looked wow on the movie screen.
Yeah.
Well, I can say, with the exception of possibly Star Trek the Motion Picture, I have seen every theatrical release in the theater, including Star Trek 2 when I was a little bitty baby. My mom had me there, and I got to see that. Star Trek 3, 4, 5, all the way through. Like, I've never missed a theatrical release of Star Trek. Any Star Trek.
I think Star Trek 4 was the first one that I've seen in theaters.
That was me too.
That I can remember.
Although I have seen 2 special showings of Star Trek 2 in the cinema now, so I can say I've seen 2 theatrically, and one of them was actually an original print from 1981.
Well, if it was an original print, it wouldn't have been Star Trek 2. It would have been just Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan, because they added the 2 later.
Oh, did they? Okay, all right. Yeah. But 1 and 3.
But no.
Yeah.
Generations, I saw that like 8 times the first week it came out. Well, see, yeah, my hometown theater somehow got an advanced screening, so I went and saw that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the next week was Thanksgiving, so I went Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, since the family went to the grandparents, and I had to stay home because I had to work at the TV station. So like, yeah, 2 weekends, 8 times.
I couldn't see my favorite show that many times in one. I mean, I like things and I'll watch them, even twice in a row, but 8 times is a bit much even for me.
Yeah, I was only 18 at the time, so yeah, I really liked it the first time. And the funny side note, going towards the technically side of Trek, but it's saying I was supposed to be working on a video project on that Thursday, and one of the members of the group never showed up. So I told the rest of the group, say, hey, I didn't tell them I was going to a movie. Say, I have a previous engagement I have to go to. I have to go. And I bumped in my freaking professor at the movie theater because he went. I was like, hey, Sean, how's it going?
Nice.
But anyways, going back to the episode. Honestly, I think.
Oh, could I show Katie's comment too it's about the episode? The one here, she says the set for the interior shuttle.
Yeah, I was going to
actually drop the temperature to get better effects. So they actually wanted the actual cold breath. That's interesting.
That's yeah. See, I haven't read anything about that. That's interesting. And
I do remember hearing about that they actually did make it super cold. I don't remember because there's been a lot of behind the scenes that I like to watch. Voyager, DS9, all of those, and there was a behind the scenes where they talked about that particular episode and how it was really, I think there was some fake ice put in there, but the temperature was dropped really cold, so that you could see their breath and everything like that. I don't.
and
It was
air
portable.
legitimacy.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, so that you would, freeze your nipples off. And
Right.
Yeah, but we all know. Yeah, say Katie, sci-fi was almost killed because of TOS. So yeah, we still love you, Katie. But we're glad that you're on board with most of the track. But but yeah, same looking at some of my notes. I didn't take a lot of notes for whatever reason. I just we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. But
well, this
but I
this
was
this trek, what we've been doing so far in the show is the last couple of shows have been about friendship and two people, how they bonded, right? That's what we
mhm,
did the last several shows on, and so this one was very much a bonding between Trip and
read.
Malcolm. Yeah,
What the,
and it was a near death experience shared, and so that brought them closer together, and they were tighter friends after that episode. So that's why the episode was selected. Now that said,
yeah.
not the most action packed of all the episodes.
No, but they've all
Oh,
been about on the
we
same pace. Oh, hey.
Katie's joined us.
Hello,
We've
Katie.
incurred her wrath.
Yay.
Hello, darlings. How are you?
Good.
Oh,
I'm gonna need a sip of this before you lay into me.
for me, a day without alcohol is a good day.
Yeah, I've got my Pepsi right here.
Your frickin' 3 liter.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've not been awake long. I managed to get an hour's sleep, and I woke up just after the show started.
How do you get 3 liters there when we only get 2 liters here? That's bullshit.
Yeah.
I want 3 liter.
Because that's the good thing about Britain, darling.
See, another reason to go to Britain.
Exactly. But I'm sorry. I stand by what I said earlier.
Oh, we know you. We know your history.
Puts shame to Brits. I'm sorry, but I have never known a Brit like him.
Interesting.
The actor Dominic Keaton, I can't stand him neither.
I take it as a character. I don't know much about the actor, but I take it as a character. The reciting lines. I mean, I don't see him as a representation of the UK.
I mean, the actor, okay, I understand that he's got ADHD, but that is no reason to be a rude, ignorant ass.
Yeah, and the thing is, the actor himself is British. This isn't an American actor doing a British accent.
Yeah.
This is a British actor. And Katie knows one of my favorite shows is Are You Being Served? In fact, I just watched this whole week. I've been watching that show just back to back to back to back. All like the first 7 seasons are my favorite. And it's just so these actors are amazing. I mean, you fall in love with Stephen Peacock and Betty Slocum and Claiborne Wilberforce Humphreys, Dick Lucas. I mean, they're just wonderful, and what a beautiful representation of British actors. And then we get to Malcolm.
Yeah. But no, the way Malcolm is, I never liked him right from the first episode. And, I know that Trip can be a bit hot-headed, but, I fell in love with Trip, platonically speaking, of course. I fell in love with Trip, like, from the first episode, and he handled being with Malcolm so well. Like I said in my comment, if that had been me, I'd have been the only survivor of that shuttle pod.
Yeah, same.
Honestly.
But I mean,
This is the mood I've been in recently.
well, towards the end of the episode, when they're freezing to death, he actually hit his boiling point with Malcolm when he's ready just to sacrifice himself, and just, I don't know, was he the sacrifice himself not to save Malcolm, but just to get away from Malcolm.
Yeah.
He figured that was the only out.
But
I'm just going to phaser myself out of this.
Yeah, I mean, I do love this episode. Even though there was a lot of sets that were built for the series, this was one of the most intricate because it was such a closed-in space. There was so much detail that was needed, and like I said, that they actually turned the temperature down, and that they made it so cold in there. They had to keep having regular breaks between filming because it was that cold.
Mm.
I was wondering that about the breath. I wasn't sure if that was an effect, but it didn't look like it. I thought, I wonder if they actually had to make it chilly, or if they were eating ice cubes beforehand, or what they were doing to get that breath, that cold breath.
No, it was below 0 degrees Celsius. I know that.
Wow.
Yeah, so below C is definitely below 0 in Fahrenheit as well by just a few degrees. But yeah, I don't think it was that cold for them. It's probably like around like 35, 40 degrees, maybe. Who knows?
I don't know.
Being that cold, being below freezing, that would probably be a little much for SAG to swallow. That's just my opinion. I don't know if that's fact.
It was extremely cold. I can't remember. I don't know if it was the Shuttlepod show, because I know that they did a live reading of the script for it on the Shuttlepod show.
Hey, Mala.
Hey, Mala.
Hiya, darling. Mwah.
Yeah, feel free to. Katie popped in, so feel free to pop in too if you want. So we got plenty of space.
Yeah, and I look a complete mess, Marla. I've just woke up, so. But no, I love this episode. It is a very pivotal moment in Trip and Malcolm's relationship, and I think in all of Trek, it's one of the most pivotal moments in a friendship because it is a very difficult situation. They do genuinely believe they're going to die. And that even though, Trip nearly kills Malcolm, then nearly kills himself, it is a pivotal moment, and they do get closer afterwards. Their connection is a lot deeper after the Shuttlepod incident, and it's nice to see.
I actually was wondering about that.
I'm just looking down at my notes, so.
I'm looking down here at Katie's right under her name, Space Witch. Oh my God, I was just dying. I love that. That is wonderful.
Well, did somebody have a kettle going a minute ago? I thought I heard a kettle whistle.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
It wasn't here, but I heard it.
Katie?
I don't know what it was.
Unless it's something in the microphone, I don't know. Oh, okay.
Microphone whistling. Ghost whistling.
Oh, I have got my fans on, so it could be every now and again. It could be sweeping over my webcam.
That could very well be it.
With Katie here, I do apologize. I've got to get ready for a 6 o'clock net. So
Okay.
I will say
We're short.
that
It was good to see you, though.
it's really
Okay,
good to see you guys. But before I go, I really want to give a quick thank you to Mala, who this Sunday or this past Sunday jumped into a role like with 3 seconds notice that Manu couldn't make it to the show, and jumped right in. And I mean, that was amazing. Amazing.
Nice.
yeah,
That's
I thought that was all pre-planned. I honestly thought Manu was here downstairs until it's like, Mala, what? What's going on?
yeah. He was ill that day, and she just like took it and ran with it. Even with a little bit of technical troubles at the beginning, recovered from that was just amazing. So I just can't say thank you enough. That was brilliant. All right, guys, bye. And
Oh, and before you run off,
Take care, Tyson.
next week's show's going to be Second Contact from Lower Decks.
Okay.
it's going to be what?
Second Contact, the Lower Decks premiere episode, season 1, episode 1.
Season 1, episode 1. We're going to watch the very first
Lower Decks.
Lower Decks. All right.
Yes.
I love Lower Decks. All right, I'll be there.
I remember that. Okay.
So I'll talk to you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye, darling.
See,
But
Mala is also not a fan of Malcolm.
No, I mean, Marla stated that she likes the actor. I can't stand the actor either. He is just an ignorant, arrogant ass.
I don't even know.
Zach!
But
That Lower Decks, the cartoon series.
yes.
I was going to say earlier, I get the idea in the episode that they needed them to clash, and they had two sides of this argument, and one sort of accepting that they are likely going to not make it, and the other one trying to be more optimistic, and use that as the clash and the dialogue. But they really I don't remember any episodes before it. If I did see them, it was so long ago that I don't even remember them. So I don't know if they had constantly butted heads and then what they were like after. But I thought there was one thing that kind of bugged me a little bit, and I understand that I completely understand that in that kind of situation you can get hot-headed and you're in a really stressful situation. But yeah, just they really butted heads. Like, I was waiting for fists to fly. I thought somebody was going to hit somebody or throw a chair or a punch or something. But man, I was like, wow, like they got to try and like pull themselves together. But they were both just hated each other through this. And it was,
yeah, and of course, like the total polar opposite, saying Trip being the eternal optimist, thinking we're going to be found, we're going to be rescued, and Reed is like, forgive me if is very Eeyore. He's very like, we're dead, we're doomed, we're going to die. I don't know if that's too much of a reach, Katie, you being a big Eeyore fan.
No, I think even Eeyore's got more optimism than Malcolm. But no, it makes perfect sense that Trip was like that. Trip puts on a good front, but is a lot deeper than people realize, and he's a lot more of a pessimist than people realize as well. I do psychological profiles on all of them, but no, even though Trip is a very big optimist, especially being stuck with Malcolm,
I think Mala kind of hits it on the head. He's a personality impaired.
Yeah, it is.
I take it he never became more likable as the series went. No.
Not. It's kind of. His personality curve just. It wasn't flat, but it just slowly, but not.
Nah, his character just did not evolve at all. but yeah, that's another reason I don't like Malcolm, because he didn't, his character, I think he'll find I'm a red shirt. Or at least a red dressing gown. But no, I love Trip. I really do.
I think everyone did. Everyone loved Trip.
Yeah, and I don't give a crap about beta canon. I'm sorry for those of you who do, but I don't. I don't give a crap for TOS canon because it was so contradictory. For me, TOS is beta canon because of the contradictory nature of episode by episode.
Yeah.
But so I don't really go for what people say is canon and what isn't, because.
And there's a lot of things too. There's a lot of things that they talked about in original Trek that you couldn't carry over in a new Trek. The whole thing about like women not being able to be captains, things like that they had to, yeah.
Which they kind of did later with Enterprise when the Columbia was captained by Erica Hernandez.
Hmm.
But no, I don't go by any of that. I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I disagree that. I love this series, and I was really, really gutted that it didn't carry on, and the way that they ended it was appalling.
Yeah, the last episode was not.
But no, I do like Enterprise. It's like the prequel to everything for me. Well, it's the prequel to everything for everyone.
Yeah.
Sorry, words. But I didn't get on with some of the characters. Reed is one of them. T'Pol, she grew on me. She really did. But I mean, one of my favorite characters is what's his name? Oh,
What are you thinking of?
The Vulcan ambassador.
Saval?
Saval, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Gary Graham.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I absolutely adore him. The pilot episode of Enterprise, the way him and Archer were together. Actually, he is the main reason why I initially didn't like Enterprise.
Really?
Oh.
Yes, because all I saw was him in Quantum Leap, and I couldn't get along with him. He's also the reason why I don't like NCIS New Orleans. That character does not suit him in NCIS New Orleans. But his character grew on me as Captain Archer as well. Once I gave it a go, and it was actually only last year. It was only last year that I saw Enterprise.
Oh, okay.
And that was only because I was given official homework by the DT family.
Oh.
Watched Star Trek Discovery, which took me 3 months to get through the first season. And oh god, she is hot. Yeah. Sorry. Marla's having a really bad influence on me. But
has she ever had a good influence on you?
Oh, that's me.
What was that?
Has she ever been a good influence?
Yeah.
I was just making a bad joke. Sorry.
But no, Hoshi was one of my favorite characters, actually. She's got a very talented tongue. That is the words of James T. Kirk. I'll have you know. but yeah, I didn't actually see it like Enterprise properly until last year, and I fell in love with it.
I like Strange New Worlds.
But yeah, I think I've seen all 4 seasons of Enterprise about like several times now because I do love it. But this particular episode, it's not one of my favorites. It's not one of my least favorites. But I think it could have been done better in places. I think it was done very well in certain places. I mean, I know that Marla was going off on one about the writing. And yes, I do agree to some extent about the writing. However, there is certain dialogue within it that is just really good, and usually that comes from Trip.
Mm-hmm.
To be quite
yeah, as they Maul is saying, this episode kind of goes into that friendship kind of dynamic, same with Trip and Reed stuck together facing imminent death in the vacuum of space. They actually started to get along with each other and finally started to connect instead of tell each other. But is your phone doing like some sort of jig there, Philip?
I had to just move the microphone a little bit, but
Oh, it sounds like it's doing a dance. So just like
okay. Oh, I had to move it and turn it because it's on the edge of my desk. So I tried to hold it for a second, it wasn't working, but I've got it back on the desk properly. So
very cool. Because well, towards the end there, when Trip was about to sacrifice himself, going upside just to die in the vacuum of space, and he's like, "Who do you think you are?" It's like, "You're armory officer and perhaps your friend." Bam! I think that's when things just like finally just hit.
Yeah, ended up really
the one thing I thought it was interesting you picked this one because I thought through the course of the series, it was Archer and Trip that ended up having more of a bond.
Mm-hmm.
Could be wrong, but I thought that was where
they had a bond prior
because they knew each other.
Yeah, so they knew each other before the series, before he became chief engineer.
That'd be a really good episode to do for friendship. I can't remember what episode it was or what season, but the episode that depicts how Archer and Trip met.
Second Flight.
I'm
pretty sure that's the name of the episode.
But yeah, that's a really good episode for friendship. The episode where Trip and Archer meet. That is really good.
Well, let's say if we've already got episode 30 picked out, Second Contact from Star Trek Lower Decks. And episode 31, I'm thinking, how far can you push a friendship, a relationship? And so the first thing I thought of was Skin of Evil from the first season of Next Generation.
Is that the one where Tasha dies?
Right.
Yeah. Because, I mean, they're facing this Armus dude, and they're trying to get by and saying, we're not going to, Tasha's saying, we're not going to leave our friend, and he just flicks his wrist and just kills her out of spite. And saying, so they have to try and rescue Troy, but at the same time, they got to put their feelings for what Armus did to Tasha on the back burner until the end of the episode. And the way that episode ended, just kind of jump ahead, just like Data being perplexed with the conflict going on in his mind, and Picard's like, "No, you got it. You hit the nail on the head, Data. You know what's going on."
Yeah, I'm not too keen on that episode, to be quite honest. The best part about that episode is the end with Data.
Yeah.
That is literally the best part about that episode. And it is an upsetting episode. It is.
Yeah.
But again, it could have been done so much better. But because of the circumstances of Denise's exit, and the reasons why, that they basically had to cobble together an episode to depict her death.
Not getting too. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I didn't know if you finished.
Oh no, I was just gonna say so that explains why that episode wasn't too good.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, with production order, the same Symbiosis was shot after that episode was shot.
Oh.
And so it's been noted, and you can see it like towards the end of the episode when they're leaving Picard and Riker and whoever else was with him were leaving the cargo bay. Yar's off in the background, just like in bye.
Mm.
That was her final final scene was that
Oh, all right.
episode. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
It's like almost like a blink and you'll miss it as the doors are closing. She's waving to everybody, and it made it to the final cut.
That's right. Yes, I remember hearing something about that. Now that you said that, yes, yeah.
And after I heard about that, I watched the episode again, and sure enough, there she is, waving
back. Yeah,
waving bye bye to the fans.
I'm actually really gutted that they never planned to evolve Tasha's character, because I would have really loved to have seen Denise stay on the show and have Tasha's character evolve.
I thought that was such a cop-out reason. I'm like, seriously, you guys are writers and you can't think of a better way to write or some way to make her character grow. Like, you can't. Come on now, like.
Well,
look any intention of having her as in any way a main character. Mm-hmm. She was always going to be, even though she was a bridge officer, she was always going to be secondary, and
right.
That is why Gates left.
Well, there's more to Gates's departure than just that. It's just that
there is.
It's a more early.
She left, like Gates McFadden. She left for, like, one of the reasons she left was because of the same reasons as why Denise left.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Doctor's character wasn't going to evolve, but because Dr. Pulaski the fans didn't like her at all. Mm-hmm. And then they basically asked Gates to go back, because they released Gates from her contract the same as they released Denise, which was a very rare thing to do. Yeah. They were on a 7-year contract and they both got released without question or without, any consequence. But Denise talked to Jean herself and all the writers and everything, and no, she was just going to be in the background. Every now and again, she'd have a little bit of dialogue. She was never going to have any more episodes like the one where she's kidnapped and she has to fight with poisonous barbs on her hands and whatever. One of the very earlier episodes.
Okay.
Probably the most racist episode in Trek.
Oh, Code of Honor.
Code of Honor.
I was just like, yeah, it took me a hot. I was gonna bring that one up too, but
that was a very Tasha Yar-centered episode, and that was the only ever spotlight she was ever going to get. And so she left, and there was going to be a lot of episodes where she didn't make an appearance at all. Not physically anyway. That there was going to be like shots of her, like her legs behind the captain's chair at the security station and things like that, but you wasn't actually going to see her. So that's why she left.
Oh,
yeah. But But Mala brought up a good point because she had some other commitments to being a choreographer for Lambert that maybe that helped
Yeah.
actually help jump
Oh,
to that to do
oh,
that
Labyrinth
too.
was long
So
before that. Okay, all right.
Yes, but she was already considering to leave because of the scripts that she saw
Right.
for the character of Beverly Crusher.
actually no, Lambert came out before Next Generation.
I was gonna say, I thought that was
Yeah,
before Next Gen. I could be, but
I thought
uh,
that Labyrinth came out in like late '87.
no, 86.
Oh.
yeah. All right.
Well,
And
I do know that she did have another commitment, but I can't remember what it was.
She have done that. Let me
But
just go
no,
and look
she
at
basically she read the scripts and she did not like Beverly Crusher, and she tried and tried, but eventually they brought her back and they said, look,
that.
we will evolve her character. It's just going to take a little bit of time.
and
And
I'm pulling up her IMDb right now. Let's see.
but no, I would have loved to have seen Tasha's character evolve because I got on with her character really well. It's just a shame that they that they were never going to make anything of the character.
Hmm.
I mean, initially that they were going to kill off Worf,
Mm-hmm.
but because of the circumstances with Denise, they killed her off instead, and the writers come. No, not the writers. Gene managed to convince the writers and the producers and everyone that Worf was important. Because of everyone. Oh yeah, definitely. Yes. I love Labyrinth. Oh, I want to watch Labyrinth now, Marla. um
Oh,
but
Pet Cemetery. That's what she went on.
yeah.
Oh, all right. I didn't know she was in that. All right.
She found it before I did, so yay, Mala.
Hmm.
But yeah, Mala, you also brought up the point. I mean, even though she left the show, I'm even wondering when they brought Denise back for yesterday's Enterprise if they thought about
Hmm.
having her birth a child through a Romulan back then, even. Okay,
I'm
so
just glad that they
we're
brought
jumping
back.
all over the timeline tonight.
I'm just really glad that they brought her back for the entire series finale
Mhm.
of Next Gen, because
Yeah.
even though they did use like old footage, a lot of the footage of Denise as Tasha in All Good Things was brand new. And you know, it was really nice to see her.
Hmm.
I didn't like her as a Romulan though.
I think Sela was a great character. I mean, that that I think she did a great job playing a Romulan character, or in this case, half Romulan.
Yeah, I mean the character was good.
Hmm.
I didn't like that Denise came back like
Hmm.
that. But you know,
Gage's
it's one of
mom.
those
So
things.
long, yeah.
Although back to Enterprise, not necessarily this episode, but one person I was really happy to see was Zephram Cochrane. I was really happy to see him because I can't remember the actor's name. He did
James
he did
Cromwell.
That's it.
yeah.
Yeah.
He did a special recording for the show, and and I think that was like.
They mentioned him in the episode, but I don't remember them showing him. And are we talking about?
No, there's this video that I think it's like on the main viewer on the bridge, and
shit,
it's
yeah.
from
It wasn't exactly the bridge, but it was a big screen at
Okay. I gotta, if I'm watching these, I gotta learn to pause them before I go out, because I was listening to it and I ran out of the room and I heard them talking about it because my kitchen's right over here. So I ran to the kitchen to get something and I came back. So I'm missing like these little snippets. I'm listening to it, but I didn't.
But no, it wasn't from this episode. It was another episode that this recording was on. But it was really nice.
The premiere episode.
Zefram Cochrane in Enterprise with the same actor.
Oh, all right, okay.
Yeah.
Dedication ceremony. That's the word I was looking for.
Because he was also in Lower Decks.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, he did do that too.
That little thing.
But no, I like it that they recycle characters. I like it that they recycle actors as well. But regardless, I mean, I've got my favorite Trek characters throughout all of the series. I've got my least. I think everybody knows who my least favorite character is. But no, I do love this episode. I do. I also hate it because of Malcolm. It's just too much of Malcolm. It's very rare that I watch this episode. Well, I won't skip it, but you know, I'll not pay too much close attention to it when I'm doing a rewatch. And that's purely because there's just too much Malcolm on my screen. I don't like him. I don't like the actor who plays him. He is such an ass. Oh, I actually stopped watching the Shuttlepod show because of him. And then I found out that it wasn't presenting it because it had an operation or something. So I watched a few episodes. But when he came back, I stopped watching it again. Because I really don't like him.
Yeah, though I think his little dream hallucination with the Paul was actually quite humorous.
No, it was cringeworthy.
I mean, it was cringeworthy enough that it was hilarious.
It started off really well. The hallucination. It started off really well, and then it was just, God no, that's just spoiled the entire episode. And I wanted to reach in my screen and I wanted to knock Malcolm's head off.
But
really
at least he wasn't doing that on a holodeck.
yeah. Philip. Oh.
Well, you know the reference to that, right?
Yes, I do. I've seen the Orville. Oh.
The Orville. Oh no, I was talking about Next Gen. I was thinking about the Geordi episode for a moment where.
When the nth degree, or not the nth degree, Hollow Pursuits.
Yeah.
I was just watching something on that recently. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I thought you was going a little bit further than that. I thought you was referring to the Orville.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. No, I was thinking about the Next Gen episode with Geordi and the woman that designed the ship.
Oh, Leah Brahms.
Yeah.
Go me for memory.
every time you touch the engine, it's me. It's like, I am outraged. Was it good for you? Did you have one for every day of the week, every mood?
Yeah, that's. There's somebody I follow, and I don't want to go too far off topic. Real quick, there's somebody I follow on TikTok who's really, really interesting. He's an author, and he talked about that episode. And he says why it's sort of an important episode for the very reason that it's so awful. And he did. I'll have to send you the link, or if I can save that little video clip, I'll send it to you sometime. It's really interesting point of view on it, though.
Chances are I probably have seen it at one point.
Okay.
But yeah, I made a note about what the hell were in those potatoes that was good enough to plug those holes in the
Food things.
hull?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's worrying.
I love the microwave that warms things in like 3 seconds.
Well, it just warms it.
Yeah.
It dehydrates and reconstitutes it.
Oh.
I would love to have a food warmer upper like that. I
Done.
really would. I really would. That's like a dream.
Hmm.
Or one of those that are in the Fifth Element. You know, you just put like a tiny little pack in, like 3 seconds, and you open it, and you've got like a
Oh, yeah.
soup dinner.
Yeah.
Well, Back
Huge
to the
meal.
Future did something similar when they put the
Yeah.
little itty bitty pizza, you put it in there, boop, big old pizza.
What's Marla laughing at?
That was probably talking about all these food
It
options.
just went up. But
I
Are
think.
you laughing at me, Marla? But no, I don't know what's in those ration packs, but it's very dubious.
because they were small, but they somehow turned into full. They look
Full
like
meals.
yeah, they look like Swanson
Yeah, frozen meals, yeah.
frozen dinner.
Yeah, I don't think I would eat that. And you know, recently I've had some really weird food cravings, but even I wouldn't touch a ration pack.
Yeah, but
And it was funny, of course, Malcolm has the fish. I'm like, yeah, of course he has the fish and chips or something. I forget.
Yeah, but even then it was done so wrong. I'm sorry, but if you get fish and chips, you do it right. Ugh. Even though I don't like fish, but you know. Don't
you're
look at me
British
with
and
that.
don't like. You're Brit and you don't like fish. What's wrong with you?
The only seafood I like is canned tuna in spring water.
Oh,
That is
okay.
the only seafood that I like, and I will literally just eat that out of the tin.
I was when I was I forget what it was now. When I was in the UK, I was surprised how many flavors of well, we call them chips, but I guess crisps that are actually prawn flavored. I was like, it was like, yeah, they have the same ones we have: salt and vinegar, barbecue, and
Actually,
prawn. I'm like, what?
Yeah, prawn cocktail. I like prawn cocktail crisps.
All right.
Yeah, I don't have any right now.
I tried a
because I
small one.
ate
Actually,
them
wasn't
all.
bad. I was surprised actually, but it was
Oh yeah.
from
Prawn cocktail crisps are really nice. They really are. We also have these little like biscuit things. You can get them in like salt and vinegar flavor and that. And they're called fish and chips. And the shapes of the little like biscuits are well, they're kind of more like the consistency of like a cracker, but they're like little fishes and then little chipses. It's really good.
I'll look for those. All right.
We better get back to Trek. We're losing viewers.
Yes. All right.
No, but let's see. Look at my notes here.
Let's see what the episode. Oh,
It's kind of interesting that that they both know Ruby from the 602 Club.
oh, yeah. That weird little coincidence that they both.
Yeah, so there's just starting to like the ice is crumbling a little bit between them at that point of the episode. But one thing though that Katie must have flipped upside down or something.
Oops.
No, I'm still here. I've had to like bin in my screen because of my migraine.
Oh, okay.
That's
No
all
worries.
good. But no, saying that even though we all knew that everything was going to be okay, the Enterprise really didn't get destroyed. I think it would have been nice to kind of drag the viewer along a little bit more instead of after the opening credits snap to the Enterprise. go back to Trip and Malcolm, then go to the Enterprise and
Oh
become Joel.
yeah.
They-
So it made it a little
You know, because
more,
it's
yeah, a
just,
little
just
more
like right
mysterious
away,
at
it's
the
like
beginning,
the
and yeah.
Enterprise has been destroyed,
I'm
but
not
we're still Enterprise is fine. It's like cause and effect all over again.
I'm not sure if it was this episode, but for some reason I'm sure it is. This episode was supposed to be a double. Apparently, Shuttlepod One was supposed to be a double,
That's
and
the first if that's the case, that's the
Oh,
first I've
right.
the
heard of it.
what the plans were is basically the first part of the double was supposed to be purely in the shuttlepod, and then in the second part they were going to flip between the Enterprise and yes, Marla, thank the gods
Yeah,
it
they
wasn't.
wouldn't need to drag that long. Yeah.
But no, they also weren't supposed to be doing that stupid freaking flashback scene with Malcolm. But Dominic wanted to do it, and it was Dominic that talked him into doing it.
Flashback.
Not flashback, the hallucination,
Oh,
daydream. Sorry, words.
I think that, like I said, I just once things started going sideways, that's what made it humorous. Just like Paul's showing all this emotion. What the
Mhm.
heck?
No, you see,
Because
if it had just been one of those, what's it called? One of those hallucination daydream things. If it had
Mhm.
just been like one of those, like a bog standard one, and Paul was showing emotion, and they almost kissed or they did kiss, that'd have been fine. It was the stupidity of that one word. It was that spoilt it up, because up until that stupidity came into it, I actually found the hallucination quite apt for Malcolm.
are you talking about what Molly just brought up, which I brought up early on, the stinky? Call me stinky.
Yes. Now, up
That was
until that
weird.
point, that hallucination daydream thing wasn't actually bad. It wasn't the worst in the world. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. But it was that stinky thing that spoilt the entire episode.
I I
Um,
I, I thought it. Me personally, I loved that part. I just like it was so bad, it was funny.
no, for
Mhm.
me, that like I said, that spoils the episode for me.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that flash, that not. Why do I keep saying bloody flashback? That daydream. Sorry, words. Exactly, Marla. Um, but
Mhm.
but no, like that daydream was actually quite apt for Malcolm up until that point, and then I'm just like, oh holy crap! Can't you tell that Dominic's had a hand in this?
No,
And he did,
but
because the writers wanted to take it out, but he convinced them to keep it in, and it was one of the worst mistakes in Trek history,
yeah.
apart from TOS, of course.
No, I'll have to look a little deeper in that because I didn't see anything along those lines. So that's interesting to
No, it
know.
was a passing comment that he made. He's made the passing comment a few times. But looking back on it, he cringes at it now. Um, but but for me, that the whole thing with Malcolm and Paul, like his obsession and that with her, it was kind of reminiscent of how Harry was with Seven. It was just on a much creepier scale.
Yeah.
Harry, I'll give Harry one credit on this. His infatuation with Seven was was more natural, and you know, he was young, he was impressionable. Yeah, definitely, Marla, I agree. But you
Yeah,
know,
well,
Malcolm's supposed infatuation with DePaul, it was creepy.
Had there been any indication of that he liked her in previous episodes, or is that the first time we suddenly see that?
I think that might have been the first time.
No, there was slight mentions. You know, it wasn't an infatuation like it was like with Harry with Seven. You know, but there was the odd things. But that was like the main. Oh my god, he really does have a crush on Paul kind of thing.
Berman and Braga are the ones that actually wrote this episode.
Oh. I remember the other weird line was later on when he comments about something like "she has a nice bum" or something like that, and I thought,
Oh yeah, see,
that was an
that
odd line in there.
well that they were both
Yeah.
drunk off their bums at that point.
Right.
The thing is, like what Marla's just said, like he leered at her, you know, he made it creepy. It wasn't like a schoolboy crush, like what I call what Harry had with Seven, you know. It was creepy, and he made British men look creepy, you know. And a few people have said to me, like, you know, if that's what British men are like, I never want to go to the UK. And I'm like, no, honestly, he shames British men. But no, that whole thing was just creepy. It was yes, Marla, objectification, definitely. I mean, it's one thing, you know, thinking someone's hot and having like the odd sly glance every now and again with a slight smile, you know, but proper like full on leering at someone like how Malcolm did with no, I'm sorry, but that was just completely out of order, like in so many ways. That's why I said right at the beginning in the comments, he shames British people.
Yeah, I can definitely hear you on that, Katie. I was saying it's definitely gives a different perspective on the episode, which is yeah. But with the hallucination earlier on in the episode, to come back to the end of the episode after they both pass out from oxygen deprivation, and they come to in sick bay. He's just like, I've been here before. What's going on? And but when he tries to proposition to Paul, and Paul's being to Paul, so just like, and then he knows we're in reality.
See, I find it.
Yeah.
I just find it so funny that Malcolm really wanted to Paul, and it ended up being Trip that got with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's what they tried doing with 7 and 9.
Absolutely.
That's what they tried doing with Deanna.
And then Jellicoe said, "Put on a regular spacesuit. You don't need to show your cleavage on the bridge."
Well, yeah, you know, and that's only right, you know. I mean, she may have been a counselor, yes, dressed casually, but the outfits that she wore, don't get me wrong, they suited her.
Yeah, but even the actress welcomed getting a regular Starfleet uniform on the bridge after that episode.
Oh yeah, Oh yeah.
Mm.
So I always thought it was. I always feel like 7 of 9 always felt like the one that was a little bit objectified when
Oh
that
yeah.
started.
And Jerry Ryan herself has complained about the tightness of a lot of the suits that she had to wear early on, especially.
Oh yeah. Have you seen pictures of the corset that Jerry Ryan had to wear?
Mhm.
Oh my god. I mean, even when she first came into it as an actual Borg. Yeah, exactly, Marla.
Yeah.
But like, even when Jerry Ryan came into it as a Borg, her Borg outfit was very.
Tight.
Yeah, it was very.
Bonkers is.
Yeah.
Phew, more than bonkers, Marla, darling. But it. But I do agree. But even 7 of 9's Borg attire was very slinky and not very Borg-like. I mean, when B'Elanna and Janeway were assimilated, that they didn't have skimpy Borg suits like Seven did. But I mean that silver outfit that Jerry Ryan wore, she actually had to stop wearing that
Mhm.
for the same reason she struggled wearing her Borg outfit, and that was because of the high collar. Because the high collar on it was so stiff and it was so like flush to her skin. When she turned her head, it put pressure on her carotid artery and she would pass out.
Oh.
Yeah,
Geez.
couple that with the corset as well. Because I don't know if you've noticed in like Picard and in bleh, words. Oh God, yeah. Well, there again. I mean,
I think
and that's her.
your brain's going on down the right track. And say in Picard, yeah, she's definitely wearing more loosely human clothing.
Actually, no. I was gonna mention her voice. Now, if you really listen throughout Voyager, when I mean, she does speak a bit different in Voyager than she does in Picard, and when she does in real life, that's because she's like ex-Borg. But when she's in her Borg outfit and when she's in that silver one, especially, her voice is a lot deeper.
Mhm.
And now I don't know how I picked up on this, but it's only been in the last because of my hearing, and it's only been in the last couple of years I did pick up on it. But that corset was so tight, she did struggle to breathe, and it actually deepened her voice a little bit because she strained to speak. And I mean, I know that corsets can do that. Don't ask me how, but I do know corsets can do that. Janeway's got a nice pair of chesticles anyway, Marla. But yes, definitely. I'd love to have seen that. No, I wouldn't. I'm joking.
You're not.
I anyone. I do love a good set of chesticles, but I'm not Malcolm. This Brit has standards, and has morals. But
So you're saying Jane was not good enough then?
but but no, I don't like anyone being objectified. Whether I mean, that episode of Enterprise where the ship gets taken over by the Ferengi and Trip is running around in his underwear. You know, that completely objectified him. I mean, I could have done without seeing that. Don't get me wrong, he's got a nice ass, but, you know, and I can say that purely on, you know, just platonic, you know.
But me being on the other side of the spectrum, I didn't mind.
Yes, Dave, you didn't mind at all.
I'm sure Tyson wouldn't either if he
No,
watches this
but I
part
mean,
of the
I could have
episode.
done without seeing the front view of that, you know.
Well, that's not the first time either, because whenever they're in the decon chamber, he's always in his underwear and a tight tank top. And
yeah, in a tight tank top, fine. That suits him. It really does suit him. I'm on about is shorts. You know,
he's in his briefs too in the
yes,
decon.
I know, but even when he's in his like full underwear in decon, it's one of those things, you know. T'Pol's in a tank top and hot pants, basically. You know, everyone is the same in decon. It's just what's done in decon. But that episode, you know, they could have found him something to wear. He could have found something to wear. But he was just completely objectified in that episode, in my opinion. Even though it was funny. But no, I don't like anyone being objectified. I really don't. And a lot of the female characters were. I'm really glad that they didn't do that with Hoshi, because I would have really kicked off.
Can I just interject with a quick question? Because I was thinking about this earlier when I saw the episode, because I wasn't sure which one was going to come up. But I know I've only seen very few episodes. And there's one that seems to always kept coming up when I used to have cable, and we used to have Space the Imagination Station, and they were always running Star Trek all day. And the one episode I kind of kept coming across was one where it was Trip and Captain Archer, and they were it was like a desert planet, and they were playing a game.
Yeah, like some space volleyball of some sort.
Right. You know the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I know what the one you're thinking of too is. I think Mala's thinking of the same one as well.
That's the one. It was weird that I kept coming across that one though. Every time I turned it on, it was like, I just have this on like a couple of weeks ago, and there it is on again. So.
But no, so sometimes things just aren't needed. You know, there are certain things, and I do apologize for stripping off people. I really am, but it is boiling in here. And I've got 2 fans on as well, and my window's open. But there are certain things that are not needed in an episode. There are certain outfits that are not needed.
As you're stripping down.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have gone the complete opposite way with the Shuttlepod episode. That they could have made it so that even though the power was off, the nacelles were heating up or something because there was some form of feedback in the system, and that they could have heated the plate. Oh, there we go! Woo!
Fat kitty.
I do apologize. I really do apologize. Oh crap! Haha! There we go. But no, they could have gone the complete opposite way, and they could have heated that Shuttlepod up.
Well, they didn't have the same engines as they do in the current shuttles.
But no, I mean they could have caused that. They could have written it so that certain damage was caused where they had no power, but there was some form of feedback, and it was heating the shuttle up, you know, and it was getting ready to explode or something, you know. They could have gone down that route. I'm so glad they didn't. And it was actually nice to see Star Trek characters put more clothes on. It really was. It made a nice change.
Yeah, but with the episode itself, I'm thinking the the line or the lines of the episode goes toward the end when Trip and Reed were huddled, they were shivering, they were drinking the brandy, the bourbon,
Hmm.
and saying the computer was making its little bleeping noise, and Reed said something about it geeking out, and I had to rewind it a couple times and ensure that he said it said it was geeking out,
Yeah.
and but Trip responded say it can giggle all at once, but the galaxy isn't getting any of our bourbon.
Oh, God, I remember that. Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I love
The
that.
galaxy can giggle all it's one, but it ain't getting our brand.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do remember now because I wasn't sure what he was referring to, but I just kind of kept watching.
Hmm. And
Right.
the
But no,
good thing
Trip
is,
comes out with some great one-liners.
yeah, but
It
that I
really
think
does.
that was his. It's not getting our bourbon. But
Yeah.
speaking of bourbon, earlier on in that episode, I noticed the little te- little production hiccup. Is that he takes a couple of drinks, he's showing his glass to Reed, and he say, "Live a little." That's an order, and there's like just a little bit of bourbon left in the glass. But the next
Oh,
shot, it's like it's double.
oops.
Is a whoops. I mean, and the bottle itself, the
Mm.
amount of bourbon in the bottle keeps fluctuating by it goes down. They pour some out, and it's got more in the bottle all of a sudden.
It's magic bourbon, people. It's magic booze.
That
But yeah,
um,
You know, I'm not the only
Wouldn't
space
jump.
wit.
Not to jump way too far off topic. I can never help but see this. No, if you ever watch Star Trek 4 again, The Voyage Home, when he's
Mhm.
at the restaurant with what's her name? They
Jillian.
go up Jillian. They go for pizza and they have a beer. Watch Shatner's beer will actually change levels as the camera goes back
Ah,
and forth. It changes levels
I'll have
the
to check
lab.
that again because I just remember when he actually tried to take a drink of it, he
Right.
didn't react positively toward
It
it.
was like, yeah, it threw him off. But yeah,
I love things like that. And now I don't look for them, but I often see production mistakes.
Well, my years working in broadcast television, I definitely noticed hiccups like that.
The episode of Enterprise where is it the Delphic Expanse? When they go off on the mission to find, is it
Mhm.
the Zindi?
Yeah.
And they come across that ship with the crazy Vulcans.
Hmm.
There's a scene where there's like a massive hole through all the decks, and they put a beam across it. Archer has got T'Pol over his shoulder, and he's walking along a beam that just fits your foot on. But the camera pans to his feet to like look down the chasm, and his foot is like that on the beam. Now, especially like walking like that on basically a balance beam, you would fall off. And that was a big CGI mistake.
oops.
And just little things like that I tend to notice, and I hate that I notice. I do it with everything. And I'm just like, hold on a minute, what was that? And I often find like movie mistakes and like television mistakes that even, I don't know if you have them across in America, movie mistakes on TV, like biggest movie mistakes and stuff. And I've noticed some movie mistakes that have never made it in, and they're so obvious. I do it in Trek all the time as well.
Oh, and it's just like with last week's episode, Elementary Dear Data. it starts off with Data walking off the turbo lift on deck 22. The door to his right says deck 14, and he's walking into engineering on deck 36.
Right. I remember you said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like a super whoops there. I mean, especially when you got doors closed, deck 22, deck 14, or deck 19.
Mhm.
The quality, even with the HD, I couldn't tell, but it definitely was not 3.6. Wasn't even
Well,
deck
yeah.
22
I
on the
mean,
side.
the mistakes that get left in.
Ooh,
Yeah,
ooh, Mala, yes. We're gonna have to add that
I
to the
love that
list.
episode.
The Ascent.
I remember that one. That one I've
Yeah.
seen. Yeah.
I was thinking of another DS9 episode. Maybe we'll do this one instead of Skin of Evil.
Yes.
Sure.
The same, yeah, because
But
that definitely good. Well, even though they still hate each other, I mean, it's definite. It's probably the epitome of a love-hate relationship between two characters. Say where
oh
they might
god,
not. What?
I said, oh god, yeah, I
Yeah,
love that episode, and I love Quark and Odo's relationship anyway. It's so funny.
yeah. It's even with what we leave behind is saying that when Odo goes off to be with the founders, he's all gruff and just like, "Screw you, I'm done with you, Quark." And Quark's like, "It's written all over his back. He's gonna miss me."
Yeah, it's a very strange relationship that they have, but I do love Quark and Odo's relationship.
Hmm.
I mean, I think everybody knows by now that my favorite relationship in Trek is Data and Geordi.
Hmm.
Um, but I also love Trip and Archer's friendship because even though they are friends, they still
Sorry.
keep the chain of command really, really well. But even when Trip's calling him captain and all this lot, they still have such a laugh and it's so casual between them. And that's so nice to see. With that kind of dynamic. It's not often that you see that between like a captain and like an engineer.
Hmm. Yeah, misplaced my pen, but yeah, I'll grab this one.
But no, even though I don't like Malcolm, I do like his and Trip's like relationship. It's very up and down, and it's quite real as well. I mean, even though Trip is just like super nice, is really funny, is a gentleman, and Malcolm is just so the opposite. They will argue, they will get along, they will snipe at each other. That's a real friendship.
Hmm.
Hmm.
You know, that is like I mean I've not had friendships like that. Mine have always been a lot nicer, but and until the ending. But I've known a lot of male relationships like that. And I'm not being sexist here. I've known female relationships like that as well, but it is a very common thing among males to, well, that I've noticed anyway. I don't know if it's a British thing or just a man thing, but male relationships can often be like that when two people are the best of friends, that they are complete polar opposites, but somehow they manage to get on, even though they dislike each other a lot of the time. They snipe at each other, you know, and I agree with that. Although I still stand by what I say about Archer and Trip. You know, because that I mean their friendship goes way back. it's very casual, but yeah, the relationship between T'Pol and Archer is very honest. It's very smooth. Well, it's not smooth,
It was
but
very, very rocky at the beginning, and they kind of smoothed it out as the
yeah,
series progressed.
Right.
it does eventually smooth over. It evolves, and whereas you don't really see the evolution of Trip and Archer's friendship because it's already solidified. Whereas you do see that with Archer and T'Pol. So yeah, I do like agree with that statement, Marla. And I love the dynamic between the three of them as well.
Yeah, they having dinner together and all that.
Yeah, yeah, I really do like the dynamic between the three of them, like T'Pol, Trip, and Archer. Um, it it can be quite funny at times. It really can.
Sorry.
This is the one thing I think Star Trek got really good at was taking taking these secondary
Oh,
characters
okay.
and really um, building good relationships between them.
Are you okay, Katie?
Oh God.
So you broke her, Philip.
Why,
No,
what?
Marla's broken me.
Oh,
Oh,
her.
the lump.
It's
Oh,
that
don't
made
make
me
me
think
laugh
of it when
with
I
my
saw her
migraine
comment.
flaring, please. Oh God. Oh. Oh, this is gonna really kill my head. Oh, I love you, Marla, so much.
Yeah, TOS. It was Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. Next
Yeah.
Generation, it was Picard, Riker, and Data. And DS9, it was Cisco, Dax, and who would the third one be for DS9? That's a, yeah, but Voyager, it was Janeway, Chakotay, and Tuvok. Yep, Enterprise, Archer, Trip, and T'Pol.
But they got very good at intermixing the secondary characters, because
Mhm.
you had Geordi and Data come together and form that
Yeah.
bond, that friendship, and like and they would do that with and they would have specific episodes that would put them to. That's where TOS, I don't think really, it was mostly sort of Kirk and Spock. Like 90% of the time, they had very few episodes that was based around secondary characters. You never saw an episode that was Sulu and Chekhov.
Chekhov.
You never
Yeah.
got an episode like that. Never did. But Next Gen, they did that a number of times. They would have one where just Picard would just be in the background, is just have a few couple of scenes while it was about somebody else for a change. And
Again, this is why I don't like TOS.
Well, I was gonna say too, I think part of that problem with TOS was that Shatner always felt like he had to be the main character and needed to be the center of every episode.
Again, why Kate doesn't like TOS.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm not a very big Shatner fan. I don't know if anybody's ever noticed. But I dislike him a lot.
Yeah.
But no, there's a, you see, I know, I respect TOS. I do. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I do respect TOS. It was the start of a legend. But there is so many contradictions. I see that more as beta canon.
Yeah.
Because of how contradictory it is episode by episode. That I may not like it, but I have seen it, unfortunately. But no, I love the friendships in Trek. I really do. Um, I actually like the development of T'Pol and Hoshi's relationship. Even though they never get close, they have a certain dynamic once the rough edges are smoothed away. I do like the evolution of their dynamic. They don't necessarily strike up a friendship, but they have a mutual respect for each other in the end, and they do get on. Yeah, thank you. Yes, I totally agree. But yeah, I do like that because that's not often seen in Trek. You know, that kind of mentor, possible, you know, evolution to friendship. It's not really seen. Oh, definitely. I mean, that episode where they offended that alien race for eating in front of them. Was it that episode? Or was it another episode? The universal translator was just not picking up on the language. Yes, definitely. I love that. Yeah, that calming technique is. I've tried that actually. But yeah, Hoshi was trying her best to get this language down, and T'Pol came across really, really nasty to her. But being Vulcan, you know, she wasn't being nasty. She was just saying it as it is. But Hoshi kind of took it the wrong way until she basically bit back at T'Pol. And then T'Pol explained why she was being the way she was, and that actually really helped Hoshi. And it was after that they started having this mutual respect for each other, and like mentor, possible friendship kind of thing. So I like their dynamic. But I like a lot of dynamics in Trek. It is very diverse. The characters that get on, the characters that don't. I like to see it all.
I think that's what I've been enjoying. Strange New Worlds is they've kind of really continued that strongly in that series. They're really kind of spending time with a lot of the secondary characters and building these relationships with them. So I actually really like that aspect of it.
Yeah, and the more episodic nature of each of the episodes. It's not just one big arc, even though they do have like underlying arcs. It's not like see, if you watch episode 1, 2, miss 3, you're going to be lost in episode 4. That's not the case with Strange New World.
Yeah.
And same, but I mean, it does help if you know an episode that you missed. But at least with the nature of streaming, you can actually watch it later and say, "Oh, okay, now it makes sense."
Yeah, I adore Strange New Worlds. I like the fact that they've done it because, Mala adores it as well.
Yeah.
As long as Shatner wasn't in it, Mala. But no, I'm glad that they've done Strange New Worlds, and I don't know how solid this is, but there was basically talk about rewriting TOS.
I heard about that.
Strange New Worlds, and basically carrying it on from Captain Pike to Kirk, and basically completely rewriting TOS. And I hope they do, even though I can't stand Paul Wesley. You know, he's a much better Kirk than Shatner. You see, I love what's his name? Who
Chris
plays
Pine?
Kirk in the Kelvin timelines?
Yeah, Chris Pine.
Yeah, Chris Pine. I love his rendition of Kirk. He's arrogant, he's a ladies' man, but he's still a nice guy. And he gets things done. He's not, oh, look at me, I'm so pretty. You know, he's not like that. But Shatner is. Yes, he is. And you've just reminded me, I need to buy his photo and autograph for Comic-Con. But, oh no, I like Chris Pine. I do. He is a little bit weird, but I do like Chris Pine. I think he plays a really good Kirk as well. It's the only rendition of Kirk that I like so far. Even though Paul Wesley doesn't play him too badly yet, I just don't like Paul Wesley. So I am a little bit concerned about him sticking around.
They did kind of like in a Star Trek Beyond, kind of put a little dig on Shatner's Kirk at the very beginning with the Fabobin bit at the beginning. It's like, oh, it looks like you managed to get your shirt off again.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, I love Chris Pine's rendition of Kirk. It's actually quite funny, and I like that. But he is still a ladies' man. He is still a bit of a dick, you know. But he's funny with it. He's not creepy with it. Whereas Shatner, he was just like overly creepy, and he was just all me, and he ruined James T. Kirk. That's not how Kirk is supposed to be, in my belief. You know, from his personality, like, because I've actually somewhere, I don't know where, I can't remember, but I actually read the primary character profile for James T. Kirk from TOS. The initial character profile that was drawn up for James T. Kirk, and Shatner ruined it. Yes, it was basically William Shatner was supposed to have played James T. Kirk very much like Chris Pine does. It was supposed to be a little bit funny. It would, you know, it was supposed to be, yes, he always wanted to get laid, and you know, it came across sometimes that he had no respect for women, but actually he did, and like little funny quips and things like that. But Shatner refused to play it like that, and he ruined James T. Kirk, because that's not his character profile. That is William Shatner profile. And he put so much of himself, like his personality, into Kirk, whereas he was supposed to have played it very much like how Chris Pine plays it. Going by the character profile I read. And that's why I like Chris Pine's rendition of Kirk the best, because it matches the original character profile of how Kirk was supposed to be.
Right.
See, not a lot of people know this. But
I didn't.
No, I didn't know about that.
Don't ask me how I know these things, because sometimes I don't even know. I've forgotten, you know, because my memory's that good.
But yeah, we're at over 2 hours now, and I don't even know if there's any hot dogs left downstairs for me at this point. But Philip, thanks for stopping in and being co-host for Katie. Katie,
no, my pleasure.
You absolutely did not have to show up, but you did, so thank you.
Yeah, if you wasn't ending the show, I would have to say that I was going to get going anyway, because especially after that cackling,
It aggravated your migraine.
my migraine is starting to flare again. So I need to, and my screen is like brilliant white. So
Yeah,
I have to,
I'll
go ahead.
go.
I'll have to. I'm gonna have to. I had a little, almost had a bit of an issue getting this particular episode again. I have Paramount Plus free for a week, so I got this episode, and I'll try and get a next week episode. It's a little easier to get the animated
Lower Decks
right now, but older episodes get harder and harder to get. So I'll have to see if I can find somebody who has them on disc of some form or what, and I'll see if there's a way I can.
Or just pure luck you can get it on Pluto or something.
Yeah, on Pluto we have the Canadian version that doesn't carry it. So
what about Netflix?
Well, I don't subscribe to it because it's an insane amount of money.
How much is it a month for your Netflix?
For Netflix, because I've already got, and right now I've lost one of my jobs, so my income is very limited right now. So I forget what it was, but it was an astronaut. It was kind of expensive. It was getting up close to $30 a month.
Oh, good grief!
Close to it, yeah, $30. What was it, Mala? Do you know what it is?
Paramount Plus has all tracks.
I think it's only $12 a month, but I think for.
But yeah, I'm cutting back on stuff myself for budgetary reasons, because try to get out early enough in the morning to do liftings, but my body is just not willing to get up early.
More than that. That was over 25 a month, but I could be wrong. I thought I was pushing up 30, unless maybe that's for like the larger. Like I know there's so many for no ads. Yeah, so I was hoping
no ads on what?
Paramount Plus.
Oh, okay.
I pay about £7 a month.
Oh.
For Paramount Plus, and I don't get any commercials.
Yeah, Paramount Plus instead. 28 for no ads. I think that's Netflix, and Paramount is 10.
I only pay I pay £11 for Netflix, and I don't get advertisements.
Is it so much cheaper?
Paramount.
Oh.
Yeah, Paramount's about to up their price by $1 a month here. I think I was paying like $12 a month. It's going up to $13 a month with no ads. But
I kind of wanted to get Apple Plus because there's a couple of TV shows coming up on that I really wanted to watch. So I was hoping to get Apple Plus, but I don't know. I can't subscribe to everything. I'll find a way to watch them. As long as I know what's coming up, I'll find a way of watching them, though.
Paramount does have a cheaper option that does have limited ads. But it's not as they want to push the more expensive one, but they do have a cheaper option. So you just got to deal with like maybe 2 minutes of ads for every half hour or something like that. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, everybody, I didn't mention earlier, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Next week we're going to be talking about Lower Decks, Second Contact, the building of friendships, and especially between Boimler and Mariner. And down at the link below, you go to bit.ly/DT_fam. You can join the DT family Discord. You can also check out Dangerous Thoughts with Manu and Tyson on Sundays at 6 o'clock Pacific time. That's the main show that helped make this show possible. We deal with a variety of topics. I forgot to check and see who next week's guest is, so I got to do better on that. But any final words from either of you?
No, I think I covered everything and then some.
Malcolm Reed is a complete dick.
Alrighty, well, until next week, everybody, peace out.